¿Es pollo?
Es pollo.
Hello everybody, we're live again. We're still making tamales. Believe it or not, we were up last night till about 10 o'clock at night, letting the tamales cool down. We actually made, I don't know how many charoles. These are called charoles, these things right here. We made several charoles. I know I'm waiting for people to come in. It takes a little bit of time for the email or notification to go through to YouTube. But we decided to keep you involved with our tamale quest. Yesterday we didn't get to making all the tamales. We still have the bean tamales. Someone asked a question yesterday where the beans come into play. We actually make tamales that are filled with refried beans. I showed the bean mix yesterday. Also, by user request, and also if you come into the room and let us know, two travelers, how you doing? When you come into the room, let us know, give me a shout out. I'll try to keep up with everybody's comments. But a user yesterday asked us if we were gonna make sweet tamales. And I said, no, we weren't gonna make sweet tamales. But since a user asked us and requested, we decided to make, what do they call them, exotic tamales? Or what?
Guayaba tamales.
Yeah, but they're called exotic tamales or what? Yeah, but we're gonna actually make sweet tamales. We're gonna make sweet tamales with guayaba. And actually we have the mix of guayaba right over there. If you can see right there is the mix of guayaba. Hey, good morning, Henry. There's the mix of guayaba. So we're gonna make, I don't know if we're gonna get to making them here on the live stream, but, and I'll take you to the freezer right now so you can see the freezer full of tamales, and we still have probably the same amount. We have the same amount of masa as we had yesterday. So we're probably gonna end up making the same amount of what they call charolas. We had that big humongous pot that you saw, the vaporizer. We actually used that, and we also used the smaller pot. The smaller pot is the one that we have. The Rosa brought the other pot from the ranch, and we have a smaller pot that we actually use to reheat the tamales, but we had to cook them in two different pots. I'm gonna also give you a little bit of history. I did give you a little bit of history yesterday about the tamale, but I wanna give you more history about the tamale. Not so much in the Christmas tradition, but more in where it originated, how it came to be. Tamales, they say, originated probably actually between 5,000 BC, 8,000 BC to 5,000 BC in the Mesoamerican culture. And then tamales spread to the indigenous cultures here in Mexico and Guatemala. And they actually, the rest of Latin America, that's how they integrated the tamale. And it was I think archaeologists have found that the most recent history of the tamale, like I said, tamale is actually the plural form of tamal. People here in Mexico refer to a tamale as a tamal. Tamal is a Spanish word, but tamal comes from a Nahuatl, an indigenous word, tamales. And so then basically,
it means wrap. And
it means wrap. So it's basically a wrap. You put the masa, then you wrap it, and you put an ingredient. The Toltecs, the Mayans, and the Olmec Indians, from Guatemala and here in Mexico, that have that history. There's probably, they said that they found some traces of it in ancient writings as recent as 100 AD, when it kind of started in South America, Latin America. And the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Olmecs, and the Toltecs used to use the tamale because it was portable. So they used to take it on hunting trips. They would also take it on when they were at war with somebody. They would take the tamal, because that was kind of like, I don't know, in the U.S. Army, in most armies, they have these things called MREs, meals ready to eat. Well, the tamal was actually the meal ready to eat for the Toltecs and the Aztecs when they would go out hunting, when they were at war. This is what they would eat. This was their ration. So the history goes back further than Christmas holidays and stuff like that. Now in the Caribbean, somebody mentioned pasteles. I'm half Puerto Rican, and I know I miss my mom and my pasteles. My mom, God bless her soul, she used to make pasteles. I'm half Puerto Rican. And over there in the Caribbean, that was brought by the indigenous people too. They estimate between 250 BC to 750 BC that they actually, the Toltecs actually, or in the Caribbean, in the 1920s, I think it was. In the Caribbean, the tamale made it from Mexico City. Actually, it originated in the 1920s. Made it to, and they were also known in the 1950s, los tamalitos. They're in Cuba, in the Dominican Republic. They would also put meat in them. So, and in Puerto Rico, they actually use banana leaves. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to show you. We're going to continue to make tamales, and of course, if you want to jump in and say hello, but that's a little bit more history about tamales, not just necessarily the Christmas tradition. Now we make them for Christmas, and it's very well known. It's also become more mainstream, believe it or not. Looks like lunch at Ernie's place. Yeah, we have plenty of tamales. Actually, we have tamales. Let me go. Come on over, because we got plenty of tamales. But look, let me show you here. Here's the freezer. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we filled up already and are already in the freezer. But the thing is, you need to actually cool them down. You need to actually cool them down. When you bring them out, you steam them. Okay, you cook them with steam. Excuse me. I showed you the big. Let me go show you the big pot over here.
No, it's in the pantry.
Yeah, it's in the pantry. Excuse the mess. And I'm gonna. This big pot right here, if you see, it's got holes. So what we do is we put the water underneath, and then you put the tamales on top, and then you steam those tamales. So then basically you steam them for several hours. Looks like they're ready to serve us all as well. That is a lot of food. Yes, it is. And actually the reason why we make that many tamales,
because we give away,
is because we also give away the tamales. It's very traditional to bring tamales. Like if you go to a party, a posada, they have these things called posadas here, where they organize, a group of people will organize to go to each other's house every day up until Christmas or the Dia de los Reyes, actually. Hey, Rosario Torino, how are you doing? So you bring tamales. So usually make extra so you can bring tamales to a posada, or you can bring tamales to one of your friends, those types of things. Now, I know in the United States it's been very commercialized. Anybody from Texas will probably has heard from Delia's Tamales. Actually, that I think I told the story. It was a lady that started out of her house, and she would only cook them during. Ernie has got the whole production set up. Production line set up, not production set up. I was gonna say thanks to travelers. But yeah, we have a production set up here. We definitely do. And actually, after I get off the stream, like when I got off the stream yesterday, I actually help doing what they're doing. I get a break because I'm behind the camera right now, but they put me to work too. So I have to work too in putting these tamales together. But we make extras, number one, so that we can give them away. For example, two of those pans that you saw, we're taking to Monterrey with us for my in-laws, to share with my in-laws. Yes, we have Delia's in San Antonio. Well, actually, believe it or not, Delia started in a lady's house, and then somebody invested in Delia. The lady that's original recipes or whatever, those tamales are her original recipes. But Delia started in her house. When I was a kid, my parents used to order from Delia, and people used to line up outside her house to pick up their tamales. You used to have to order a year in advance, believe it or not. That's the history of Delia's, Rosario. If you have Delia's, but it became a restaurant later on. And then somebody invested, and they had a location in far Texas, which they turned into a restaurant, which they had open all year round. And now it's a franchise. I mean, they're all over the place. I think someone even said in Dallas. In Dallas, Texas, they even saw one. So, and Gringos, I just want to be at the end of the production line. Cold cerveza and a plate. I'll tell you what, we didn't have cold cerveza and a plate yesterday afterwards.
Mezcal.
We had mezcal afterwards, and we ate plenty of tamales. The other thing I want to mention about tamales and tamal, or whatever, I'm going to refer to it correctly as tamal, is that not only is this a tradition to make the tamal and everything else, and make a lot of them, make extra for later on. For example, we'll have them frozen in packages by the dozen, and then maybe, hey, you know what? Later on in the year, we'll go and we'll take out the steamer and we'll steam the tamales because we're craving them, and it's a lot of work. So you can't just say, oh, let's make tamales tomorrow. So what happens is you kind of make tamales for the year, and the thing is that not only is this an event where we make food, but it's also an event here in Mexico that's very social. The family gets involved. When I was a kid, well, not me, but when my wife was a kid, she would help. Everybody in the whole family would get together. This is like a family type of activity. Sort of like in Santa Fe, what I used to equivocate, because I grew up in Santa Fe too, is I used to equivocate this to roasting chili. Because when the chili season would come out, everybody would get around the barbecue pit while we would roast the chili, and the kids would grab the chili, and then we would help peel the skin off the chili and everything else. So it's a social gathering too for family. It's not just making tamales and hey, these are good and we're gonna make a bunch of food. It's a social event. As a matter of fact, we were joking around yesterday that everybody gets around the table and they start to gossip about different things, because it's a time to get together as a family and make tamales. Now, of course, I have my family here making tamales. My sons are don't live in Mexico, but it is it's a very beautiful Mexican tradition. That's the beauty of Mexico. Everything is social and everyone gets involved and laughs and smiles. That's what we love about Mexico. Yep, that's right, Gringos. It's very social. Most of the activities are very social and stuff like that, and it's a great time. And you know what? It's a great time because
Oye, ¿qué te dijeron los niños de los tamales? No me dijiste.
and it's a great time to socialize. It's a great time for the family to get together, and afterwards have a drink. Now here's the thing: you're eating tamales all day long because you're cooking them, and we were pretty full yesterday. But we celebrated with, like you said, mezcal and a couple of shots of mezcal and some drinks, and we enjoyed it. we're also gonna be making more tamales for the rest of the year. And I thought I was gonna come on live. I wasn't gonna come on, I was just gonna come on live yesterday, but I came on live today to show you because I had talked about how arduous of a process this is. And how, I mean, we literally started, when I started my live stream yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning, we literally started at 10 o'clock in the morning and we were still cooling down the tamales probably around 10 o'clock at night. So this was a whole 12 hour, you saw what I showed you in the freezer. That's a whole 12-hour process to make what we made in the freezer. And we're gonna make another one today. So we're still making the tamales today. Sometimes this process will take up to a week. And some people will actually take up to a week. No. Dear God, someone get those people a masa spreader. Well, you know what, nerd? I guess, you know what? Actually, here's the thing. My wife has a masa spreader. She uses a spoon. Rosa uses her hands, and then I use my hands too. I do it by.
I mean, since I was a kid,
I
used to do
and my wife, my beautiful wife over there, she's been doing it since she's a kid. She got it down. Like it takes me to make one tamale. She's already got like 3 done. Actually, she uses a spoon to spread it. She learned how to do it with a spoon. And I learned from Rosa how to do it with my hands.
I can.
And actually, when you do it handmade like that, my wife said I can't even use a spreader. She's seen them, and actually she can't use one. She has to do it by hand. How many tamales will you make in a day? How many did we make yesterday?
Like 200.
We made around 200 tamales yesterday. We didn't count. We don't keep count. A lot of people, what they do when they make the tamales, to travelers, is they put them in foils. They wrap them in foils by the dozen. Okay, so like you saw us with these pans right here. We put them in the pans, but most people, what they'll do is they'll put a dozen of them and they'll mark them. For example, these are chicken tamales. Actually, today we have chicken. I'm going to show you the chicken. Someone also asked about the white strips. That's homemade cheese. All of this is homemade. The guayaba mix right there, Rosa made it yesterday. Those were fresh guayabas from the market. So Rosa actually we peeled the guayaba, cut the guayabas, peeled the guayabas and everything else, cleaned them out, and Rosa made that mix for the guayaba tamales. So all of this is handmade, even the masa. And actually this masa is a little bit different than the masa that you'll find in Delia's. In Delia's, you'll find that the corn is a little bit more, it's more fine. And it's, so the tamale is smoother. If you look at our tamales, the corn is a little bit grainier. And actually they call it desquebrada. This is masa desquebrada.
Masa quebrada.
Quebrada, no desquebrada. Desquebrada means not broken. The masa quebrada, which broken masa. So what they mean by broken is they don't grind the corn as fine. So, oh yes, Gina. Yeah, oh, Gina came on. Oh yes, Gina is jealous. So let me just go into the ingredients here.
That's guayaba mix.
Okay, this is a guayaba mix. What? And that one's a guayaba mix
it's
too.
It's for the guayaba, but that's the masa.
Okay. Oh, this is the actual masa for the guayaba. This is what we're gonna put in the. This is the masa we're gonna put in the tamale, and this is gonna be the mix.
The filling.
And the filling.
Guayaba
and that masa is mixed with. ¿Qué pusiste en ese masa?
Esa tiene mantequilla.
It's got butter.
Mantequilla y lechera.
And it also has a form of milk. Lechera would be flavored milk. So that's what's in the masa, so it makes it sweet. And then we put the guayaba inside there. And then here we have the chicken. And then we have the beans. And actually they're making bean tamales right now. For the person that was asking about the beans. Where do the beans? Someone asked where the beans come into play. Basically, You spread the masa, then you spread the bean, because we have bean tamales, where you just have beans. Or what you have is you mix the beans and the cheese. Right here's cheese. Now, someone had asked me what these things were. That's actually it's called queso de rancho. It's homemade cheese. It's got different herbs. I even think it's got chili in it.
Three types of
And
herbs.
Herbs, and three types of chili or peppers.
This is queso Oaxaca.
And that's queso Oaxaca. That's Oaxacan cheese from Oaxaca, Mexico. But all of that's homemade. I mean, literally homemade. And here's the cream cheese mix we were using with the chili yesterday.
That's for
and that was for the tamales we were making yesterday. And I had mentioned that we were putting the cream cheese mix with the chili, but we were also, which I didn't show, we were also putting this queso de rancho with the chili. But like, for example, here Rosa spread the beans and then she's spreading cheese. So these are going to be bean and cheese. So that's where the beans come into play. You can, like I said, you can fill them with almost anything. And that's where the beans and cheese come into play. So that's our setup. And like I said, I wanted to come on. Anybody have any question? Hey, Woodcraft Quebec, how are you doing? To travel, I wasn't hungry until I started watching this. Now I'm starving. Actually, we funny you mention it. We start off starving, but then we end up very, very full at the end of the day. Yeah, everybody's hungry now. Well, like I said, I wanted to come on today just to let you guys see that we were still at Tamales. And that's the purpose of my live streams. Like I said, you can still ask me anything, but also give you kind of a look into our daily lives. I do a lot of informational videos and talking about, I just did one on the financial solvency going up. I do my live streams where we have some really great discussions on the live streams. But I give a lot of information about Mexico, and what I want to do is kind of give a little bit of information about Mexico, but kind of what our daily lives are like here. I took you guys to the market. So far, I never find one tamales I like. I like them all. It's all about the recipe. The recipe. That's why it says receipt, but the recipe. This is, I think, what you're trying to say with craft. Yes, we love all types of tamales. Actually, we don't separate them. Like I told you, what most people do is they separate them into foil packs of 1 dozen, and then they'll put bean and cheese, chicken. We don't do that. We just mix it. Whatever comes out, whatever we made, we just go and grab them because they're all good. And we know more or less what's in each one or what's in each thing, but we don't actually separate them like that. Nerd Uno, 200 is enough to feed your viewers. Yeah, it probably is. So, like I said, I like to give these, and also the reason why I like this, for example, with this tamale, the tamal, is that I'm giving you a look into a little bit of Mexican culture. One of the things that I say is very important about moving here to Mexico is learning the culture, enjoying the culture, enjoying stuff like this, seeing what it is. When you go to the market, even when you go to the market and they have tamales for sale, because there's people that sell them, they make them and they sell them. You'll see what goes into it. Not only that is that not only do you see what goes into it, but for example, here it's not commercial tamales. It's not something you pick up at the grocery store. This is actually masa from the ranch. This is actually masa. The other masa for the sweet tamales is masa that's from the ranch. These are all natural ingredients, everything. I think the only unnatural ingredient we used was Philadelphia cream cheese. in the sense of not getting it from the market. But even the cheese that we're putting in is homemade cheese. So, and Temple Moore, thank you for sharing a part of the sweet life in Mexico, Mexican culture. Yes, and that's the thing. This is to show people that when you go to the store and you buy a tamal, or you go to, I don't know, even in the United States, when you go, that's more commercialized in the United States. Actually, I think in some supermarkets you can get it in the freezer section, but you can actually see where this originated. People from all over the world, when we talk about Delia's tamales, there's people all over the United States literally that order these tamales, and they put them in a dry ice chest and have them shipped. And a lot of it is those tamales are very famous, and it's not because they taste great, but it's how they were made and how they became. Now, don't get me wrong, Delia's has commercialized. They have whole ovens and stoves, and of course, they probably have a masa spreader, and they do it super quick. But you know, that tradition still remains, and this is a tradition that will carry on for years. And this is something that when you go and you eat a tamale, or you have a tamal, or someone gives you a tamal, and you're here in Mexico, you can see what kind of work goes into it. And you know, have you ever heard of this food was made with lots of love and all of that stuff? Well, think about the tamal. It's made with a lot of hard work and a lot of love, because people put an effort into it. And like I said, you can go to the market, and at the market you can buy them by the dozen. You don't have to sit here and work for 15 hours. Someone else maybe did it. But then you can appreciate when you eat that tamal, and it's so good, because I've eaten some of the ones that are made by other people. But you can appreciate that tamal, and you can see the work that goes into it. It's more than just food. Yes, Temple Moore, it is more than just food. It's a tradition. And actually, not only is it a Mexican tradition, but it's a tradition that goes all the way back to the indigenous people. That's the most amazing part of this, is it's a tradition that goes all the way back to the natives that lived here. It's not just a Mexican thing. Actually, we even talked about how it made it to Cuba. Pasteles that are from Puerto Rico are based on the tamal. I mean, all of this stuff comes from ancient times, and we're talking about. And I mean, it's very interesting that these were their food rations. These were the food rations that they used when they were out to war. And actually, we were just talking about that today, because I was researching tamal, and Rosa was saying, oh yeah, when the Indians used to go to war, this is what they used to carry. So, you know, the Mexican people are taught this. They're actually educated in this, that, you know, how the tamal came to be. So I hope this information was useful. I got to get to work, and I'm coming up on my 30 minutes. And also, Rick, if you watch this, if you could leave a comment. I saw your comment yesterday. If you're watching this, drop me a line via email. You have my email. I'm going to try to email. Hopefully you have the same email address. And I'm also going to respond to your comment. But other than that, I'm going to have to get going, because I have to get to work. And any questions that you might have about tamales or anything else, or anything you want to say before we leave. Well, like I said, I like to try to keep these to 30 minutes so that everybody can enjoy them, these live streams, and without having to go full out, and kind of give you, you know, something different than your normal vlog and produced vlog where we're walking down the streets. You know, I want something live, uncensored, and have a great day, Temple Moore. You too. And I want you to to be able to appreciate everything else. Nerdono, work? I thought you retired. Actually, Nerdono, I am retired, and let me tell you something. When you retire, sometimes you actually end up working more than when you were working, but there's a difference. And this is what I tell people when they ask me about being retired. I have a lot of coworkers that are still working in the industry, in the security industry, and especially in the banking industry with anti-money laundering, compliance. What I always tell them is that I work more now that I'm retired than when I was working. But the difference is I'm doing stuff I love to do. So I keep busy, and that's the secret to retirement, is keeping busy. If you don't keep busy, and that's a problem that a lot of my coworkers have, is they retire, and they're sitting at home looking at the walls and looking at, I forgot, the fly on the wall, or whatever they call it, whatever the saying is, or watching the plaster peel, and they don't stay busy. And what I've managed to do is find something that I love to do with this YouTube channel. We have all those sorts of other activities we love to do. And we're busy. We're busy from the day we wake up to the day we go to sleep. And yeah, it's more work, but it's work at something that you're passionate at. So that's the secret to retirement, I think. And sometimes I think some of my coworkers can't, or my ex-coworkers can't get that into their head. Somehow they think they have to go into an office. It's not about going into an office. The second, your retirement should be something that you enjoy, something you're passionate about. I know a lot of people that retire and go and start a business, something that they've been wanting to do all their lives or whatever. And the great thing about retirement is you don't have to worry. The business doesn't take off. Oh well, I'm retired. I still have another source of income. So,
Mira, look at that.
Henry. Oh, what? And look, we have one just in the 30 minutes. Let me put this production line. I don't even think we need a masa spreader because look at this. And actually, I can't take credit for any of it. Thank you, Henry. Thanks for letting us into your home. Yeah, you know what? And like I said, I thought I would do this. This was an idea. Actually, it wasn't really my idea. It was my wife's idea.
It was Rosa's idea.
No, but I'm talking about the surprise lives.
Oh, no, but Rosa's idea was like...
Yeah, but Rosa's idea was to do the tamale thing. So we're all a team here. But one of the things that we decided, we see so many things on YouTube. We have the bloggers that go downtown, but it's all post-production. They cut what they don't want to cut, or they cut what they don't want you to see. It's kind of a pre-made thing. I know a lot of people like reality TV, so we're kind of doing reality TV. There's another YouTuber that drives his truck around town and talks. And what better to do? I'm going to sit here and talk for 30 minutes, but what better to talk while you guys are watching the beautiful scenery of San Miguel or watching us make tamales? We're truly giving you a look into our personal lives, a true look, not a vlog, not a pre-produced video, our raw, true lives. And this is what we're going to try to keep it real. When I come on live like this, it's going to be something real, something that we're doing, an activity that we're doing. And not only in San Miguel, we're going to be going to Monterrey in a couple of weeks. We may be going to Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm going to keep this up. And we'll see you soon. And I got a little girl that's actually whining because she wants to go for a walk. So I got even double duty because I got to take her for a walk, and then I got to come back and make tamales. So yeah, that's why I have a woodworking shop as a hobby. Yes, Quebec woodcraft. It's very important. And actually, I even have a couple of friends that loved woodworking, and they even would do it on their off time on the weekends when we would from work. But they still continue to make stuff. Actually, I had one friend that made some furniture for my parents at one point. We had a friend that was just his hobby. He said, just buy me the wood, buy me the stuff, and I'll make you. And that's the secret. Just keep active. Or you might have a little one, just like this one, that's sitting there. Oh yeah, look at the camera, Paris. The little one wants to go for a walk, and the other one is sitting there waiting for whatever drops on the ground. So, like I said, we're at 30 minutes. I'm gonna let you guys go so I can go. And thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for sharing a little bit of our lives with us. And we'll see you soon. And we'll, like I said, I know a lot of you have asked, when's your next one? When are you gonna? This is the great thing about the surprise. The surprise is you never know when I'm gonna come on. But at the same time, the reason why I do these surprises is not only do you not know when I'm going to come on, but it is more unfiltered, like I said. But I also have it set up to where I keep it to 30 minutes. So those of you who can't make it live, who can't come in on the chat, you guys can see, and basically it becomes a vlog, just like post-production. You get to see the video afterwards. So you don't miss out. Either way around, you either join us or you watch later. And hopefully we have some good information and you can have some fun watching us do what we do. We'll talk to you soon. And until next time, stay safe and stay informed.